live. We are recording. Hey, hey, hey. How you doing today, Wendy?
Awesome as always.
Awesome as
And
always.
I don't just say that, by the way, because I do say that a lot.
Yeah.
But like,
No, I get it.
I am intentional with making my days awesome.
Hey, you've got a choice in life, and this is what I tell everybody. You can either go the negative route or go the positive route. You choose the positive. I choose the positive. A lot of people we surround ourselves with do too, and that's just make the best out of it. What does it turn lemons into lemonade, right?
Yeah.
So regardless of what happens, but I'm excited about today. We talked about this a little bit. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I know I did.
I did.
Got to spend some time down on the beach, so I got a little color on my face. So I'm
You
stoked.
did.
About
I
that.
mean, you look like a whole 7 shades different.
Yep. It's
Happens fast.
my Italian background, so it's hey, it bronze up pretty quick. But anyway,
I sat in a gymnasium all weekend, so I did not get any color.
Yeah, but you were doing family stuff, so that's good. You're supporting your kids, so that's good. But I'm excited about today. You and I talked a little bit, and we're talking about, some of the gurus out there talk about baby steps, right? And we're talking about goodbye to the baby steps. Why? Because it's time to get real about your money. And if you want to build real wealth, that's what you got to do, right? It's not something that, you can just kind of play around with or take tiny steps. I mean, it's time to get real about building wealth for you, building wealth for your family. So do me a favor, reach out to a friend or somebody and say, hey, they're getting serious on money moves. And we'll get started here in just a second. I love that. I'm falling in love with it more and more every time, and I almost feel like Gladiator. It's like we're championing people's financial futures and showing them what's up. And this is one of the big things. We see this baby steps, and don't get me wrong, right? I mean, it's not bad information, but it's somebody I talked to kind of equated it to an ambulance. Right. If there's a car wreck, the ambulance shows up and stops the hemorrhaging and kind of puts everything in status quo. And okay, now you're not gonna die right now. But if I'm trying to get in shape or I'm trying to get healthy, lose weight or whatever, I'm not gonna call the ambulance to do it. Right. I'm gonna get serious about it. Call a coach. We're gonna build a plan and actually put stuff in play. And that's the challenge I have with the baby steps approach. And it's not just one guru that talks about it; it's several, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe I'm off kilter here. When do you talk to me?
So I went through the baby steps, and I thought it was great, right? Mm-hmm. and then I went through the process that you and I now take clients through, mm-hmm. Building what we call a wealth map. And one thing I've learned that's really powerful, right, is the power of time, and how that almost is more powerful than money. Right.
It is.
Right?
It is.
And so what I've realized is like, okay, if you want to build wealth, the baby steps are robbing you of time. Mm-hmm. And so one thing I love that we do is create a plan that attacks everything in a balanced way from the start. So
within a budget too, within the client's budget too. So Go ahead.
But yeah, I just think like the baby steps are for people that are just trying to build something small. But if you want to build wealth, you have to have a wealth map.
Yeah, I would even take that a step further. That I don't even know that they're trying to build anything. I think what they're trying to do is set a foundation of, okay, now I don't have anything trying to take away from my income. And I'm set for my emergency. I mean, that's kind of that first step is, $1,000 for an emergency fund. And who's going to say that's the wrong approach? You want to have an emergency fund, you want to be debt free and all that stuff. You want to have an emergency fund in case you lose your job or whatever, and then start putting money away. But what you don't want to do, because here's where the opportunity cost comes in. If you kind of map it out, right, you look at, okay, well, if I go through these steps and that all takes time
Mhm.
and it all takes money. And so if you're going at it one at a time, I mean, it may take you 2, 3, 4 months to save up $1,000, which, okay, well, 2 or 3 months, that's not a big deal, John. But then you go into your debt and you talk about student loan debt, and and that's a whole other conversation
Right.
we could
And then
have.
you take 3-4 years to pay off debt, and now you're 5 years down the road, and you're still not saving anything for retirement.
Yeah, and then even if you do, you're getting these. I'd still like to find these mythical mutual funds that are paying 12%, whatever. But it's one of those things that you start looking at that. So I've lost 5 years, and one of the things we've talked about in another show is you look at market loss and market comebacks and stuff like that. It's the roller coaster of the market. And again, we're not giving specific advice here. This is for educational purposes only. When I start talking about markets, the attorneys get all like, whoa, So there's the disclosure. But you look at it as, okay, the market goes up and the market goes down, the market goes up, the market goes down. Well, every time it goes down and we have major market corrections, get ready, about to happen again. Like 2008, for example. Okay, so you go into your working years, hey, I listen to the gurus, I'm going to do the baby steps, I'm going to start putting money away. So I'm 30 years old and I'm going to take that out to age 60, for example. So we just have round numbers here. So 30 years. I spend 5-6 years doing the whole baby step program. Okay, so there's 6 years gone. Yeah. So now I'm left at 24. Well, 24 is still kind of good too. But if you look at that approach then of, the ebb and flows in the market, you're going to gain time and you're going to lose time. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about losing your money. I'm talking about losing your time. And I want to be crystal clear on that. Wendy said it earlier, time is almost as valuable. I think time is more valuable because you can always go out and get more money. Yeah. The side hustle, get another job, go get a promotion, whatever. You do not get to get any more time, period. Yep. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so critical to take advantage of that. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And like you said, the opportunity cost, the things that you're losing by taking those baby steps one at a time, I don't think people realize the long-term impact. I mean, we had a conversation last week, I think, about, I sold a house and I made money. Mm-hmm. And what I could have done with that money over time, right? And my opportunity cost, like what I paid for that, right, was not just the money I spent from my house, but it's what I could have grown in that time frame, right? Between now and retirement with that money. And so I look at these baby steps and I go, man, by the time we get to the step where we're saving for kids' college, our kids are 18. Already there, so
good luck.
Yeah, so it's important to look at a more, I think what you've created and now have taught me to help people with is a more holistic approach. And six steps to financial freedom. Mm-hmm. But you attack them all in one plan.
And that's the key. You've got to be simultaneous about it. So, you develop a budget or a spending plan, is what I like to call it, right? Budget sounds so restrictive. Everybody's like, no, let's have a spending plan. You can still do what you want to do, but you're going to tell your money what to do and you're going to know where it's going. So you develop that spending plan. Well, part of that needs to be building wealth, right? And, you may hear things of, I need to save 10%. No, that's not right. 15, 20% would be ideal. Actually, 25. Asian countries are saving 50%. Japan, they're saving 50% of their income. Okay, so you can't expect to have a decent retirement or build wealth. And I'm not even talking retirement like 60, 65, 70. I'm talking about building wealth for 50, being able to access that stuff. So you look at liquidity and things like that. But on the opportunity cost that you're talking about, you've got to take full advantage of it. Going back to what I was saying earlier, Wendy, is, if you look at, I do this baby step plan for, 5 years. Okay. So of my 30 years, I've already got 5 of it gone. Now I'm going to start saving for wealth. Okay. So that's 25 years. Well, that still sounds pretty attractive. But if you think about it, whenever there's a market correction, and they happen on average about every 6 or 7 years, right? And it varies a little bit depending on what resource you're looking at, but 6 or 7 years. So that means in 25 years, I'm going to have 4 market corrections. Okay. Mm-hmm. Every time there's a market correction, it's not an immediate comeback, meaning the next year it doesn't automatically come back. In 2008, the S&P lost almost 40%. And then, it wasn't like 2009, the market gained the 40%. And also, FYI, if you lose 50% coming back doesn't get you whole again. You've got to have more than that. Do the math or call me and I'll show you the math. But you look at it, it's like, okay, so 2008, you lost 40%, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, and we finally creak over that mark in 2013. I got my money back. But what did I lose? Going back to that opportunity cost you were talking about, that time, you lost 5 years.
Yep.
So wait a minute. If that's going to happen 3 or 4 times over a 25-year period, now they may not all be that drastic, but instead of growing for 25 years, I'm actually only growing for maybe 12, 13 years.
Right.
And so that's the key. And you don't want to give away that 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
up front. That's why it's so critical to have a spending plan that includes, how do I get out of debt? How do I build my emergency fund? How do I start building my empire, right? How do I protect my empire? And then I don't want to build an empire and not think about the legacy piece, right? Being able to pass it on to my next generation. How do I do that? That's what a real wealth plan is, right? That's what the wealth map teaches you, is to look holistically at all these areas. And you look at all different types of strategies and which one is right for you. That's the big key.
Yeah. Yeah. It's powerful. And I just want to say for those listening, right? Like, reach out to us, drop the word wealth in the comments if you want your personalized wealth map. This is what we do. And to see it laid out and to see, it's like my favorite part of doing this is seeing this light bulb moment and people, it's almost like a weight lifted off their shoulders. Like,
Yep.
Wait, I can be where in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right?
Yeah.
I can be where. And people that even think they're not going to be somewhere for 20 years. And it's like, no, you can get there in 10, right?
Yeah.
With this more holistic approach and seeing that, like you said, it's within their spending plan. It's not like, oh, you've got to go out and, create whatever, a whole additional income. Now, of course, we teach you how to do that too.
Yeah.
But to be able to see it and have a plan and go, now I know, you're empowered with being able to make the right decisions moving forward instead of, okay, I got this check mark done. Now what? And it's like this blind road. I feel like the baby steps are like, you got the flashlight one step ahead. Like, I'm only seeing a little bit. And like, we want to give you a wealth map and like shine a light on your whole future.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing too, is, we built a strategy or a plan. When we talk to people, it's all about the education. That's why, we formed this Black Swan Money channel, right? It's to teach people to think about this stuff and ask the questions, am I doing the right thing? Or what should I be doing for my family? There is no silver bullet solution out there. And that's the other thing. I kind of cringe when I hear there is no one size fits all, right? It's you have a unique plan. You have a unique goal. You have a unique budget. You have unique things you want to do in your retirement. You may be a real estate investor or whatever and need access to that before 59 and a half or whatever. So how does all that tie in for you? And that's where, you sit down and look at this stuff. And, most people, like I said, it's great information. The baby steps are great information for a train wreck or a car wreck. It's a triage approach. But if you're really looking to build wealth, that is not going to get you there. The baby steps are going to get you to the point where your head is above water, and that's about where it stops. Okay, it's good information, but not for most people who are actually trying to build wealth. And so, like Wendy said, when you sit down and actually start explaining things to people and the light bulbs start going off, that's a powerful moment. One of the things that I disagree with is paying off your house early. Well, what does that mean? Well, I think that a house is an asset and it's creating wealth through, it increasing in value, but it's not going to increase in value whether or not there's a mortgage on it. Now, you do want to pay it off early and time it with when you leave your job or retire, but that's just one of the differences. But why? And that's what we talk about when we go through those 6 steps, is the excellent explanation behind it. But at the end of the day, it's your decision, but now you can make an educated decision on what's going on. Absolutely. But it's amazing the opportunity cost. We talk to people about, oh, I've only got 25,000 or 15,000 in my old 401k. I'm just going to cash it out and pay some bills. Okay, well, think about that. You're 35, getting ready to cash out 10 grand in a 401k, that rule of 72. And we'll talk about that later, but you're not really cashing out 10 grand. You're cashing out, let's see, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160, 160 to 320 if you use the rule of 72, and it's going to, get an average rate of return. So you're stealing from your future self. Yeah. And again, it's all about that opportunity cost.
Which that's a whole other show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I could literally talk about this for a whole, but we're going to wrap it up. But again, the baby steps, it's like the ambulance showing up to a car wreck, right? Mm-hmm. It's not going to get you to where you want to go if you're trying to build wealth. It's good, but if you're trying to build wealth, you need a wealth map. You need a wealth map. Chime in, as Wendy said, put wealth in the comments below. Share this with your friends. Reach out to us. We'll give you, if you mention the word wealth, mention the show, you'll get a free wealth map. Do something with it or not, but at least now you'll understand what's going on and make those educated decisions. So that's all I've got.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm fired up. You see this stuff coming in. It doesn't infuriate me because I'm a happy person, but it frustrates me. That's a better word. It frustrates me because there's so many more things and better things you can do out there. So folks, educate yourself. Do us a favor. Click that button. Show some love, right? Show some love down to the Black Swan team and Money Move Show, right? And share it with your friends. Let them know we're up. We're doing some good stuff out here. Share it on your social media. We would greatly appreciate it. And, I got rumors about maybe podcasts soon. So I'm just going to throw that out there too. So Wendy, it was great seeing you again. Thanks again for helping me get the message out there. And everybody, make your money moves. If you need some help from us, let us know through the link below. And you have a great, great week, everybody. Talk to you next week.